I bought this engine a year ago. It's a Bachmann limited edition Blue Peter and it was second hand. When I put it on the track, it screamed and screamed. It has a dry bearing. You can tell a dry bearing from the noise it makes. It's horrible. So it was a case of take it apart and pop some oil in there. As you can hear, it's horrible. Nice and straightforward, just 3 screws. 1 in the front and 2 in the rear. And then it just lifts off. That's really easy because some of these engines, some of the screws are in obscure places and it's a fight to get them off or get the chassis out and then get it back in again. It really is difficult on some, but this was dead easy. It was really nice. If they were all like this, it'd be great. There we go. So, a drop of oil on the front shaft bearing and a drop on the rear. Move the cables out of the way because it was a bit crowded. And that oil will just run down the shaft into the bearing. There we go. Quiet as a mouse. All 3 wheel sets picked up well. What I did notice, there was a lot of oil on the chassis. I think somebody had been over zealous with the oil on the wheel bearings, so I got rid of a bit of that. Put a spot of oil onto the shaft, the centre gear, drop gear shaft, and also there was a lot of grease that had been spread around on the outer edges that had spun off the gear. So I just wiped that up and popped it back onto the gear. It was all in good nick. What hadn't dried, it was still nice and soft and gooey. And then a bit of oil on the wheel pins, the connecting rods and the valve gear. I noticed there was a lot of bits in it, being second hand, and I suspect reasonably well used. It had picked up a lot of hair and fluff. So it was basic service for a second-hand engine. Just needed a bit of TLC, I suppose. When I came to put the chip in later on, again it came apart really easily. And there was plenty of space for the chip. It was really good. And it runs nicely as well. I'll show you some video of it running on the layout, which I haven't finished yet. I've got to do a lot of scenery on it. It's finding the time to do it. Back with the 3 screws. And there it is. Job done. It's a beautiful little engine. It really is nice. And here she is, pulling her carriages, quite a number of them, running beautifully. No sound of dry bearing. It's running very well. As you can see on the layout, I've done a little bit more, but I've got to put the ballast down and other bits and pieces. And there she is. Nice and smooth.